Heather is a first lieutenant serving in the United States Air Force. Her grandfather, Silvino Parcasio, served in the Philippine Scouts from 1927 to 1945. The Philippine Scouts were a U.S. Army regiment made up of Filipino and Filipino Americans based in the Philippines. The Scouts were the first U.S. Army unit to see combat as the U.S. entered World War II. On the Bataan Peninsula of Luzon Island, as the Japanese advanced on the Philippines, the Philippine Scouts became the backbone of the American defense in what came to be known as the Battle of Bataan. President Franklin Roosevelt awarded the U.S. Army's first 3 Medals of Honor of World War II to Philippine Scouts. The Battle of Bataan ended on April 9, 1942, when the U.S. surrendered rather than see any more starving, diseased men slaughtered by the advancing army. At that point, 70,000 men became prisoners of war, 16,000 Americans, and 54,000 Filipinos. Japanese soldiers marched the emaciated prisoners 65 miles up the Bataan Peninsula's East Road on the notorious March of Death, the Bataan Death March. During the march, Japanese guards shot or bayoneted between 7,000 and 10,000 men who fell, attempted to escape, or just stopped to quench their thirst at roadside spigots or puddles. At Camp O'Donnell, the Japanese crammed all 60,000 survivors into a Philippine Army camp designed to accommodate 10,000 men. There was little running water, sparse food, no medical care, and only slit trenches for sanitation. The heat was intolerable. Flies rose out of the latrines and covered the prisoners' food, and malaria, dysentery, beriberi, and a host of other diseases swept through the crowds of men. They began to die at the rate of 400 men per day until they were transferred to other POW camps in the Pacific. Silvio survived the Bataan Death March and imprisonment, and upon liberation by the United States in 1944, he enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1945 and served until 1962. Many of Silvino's compatriots, who were American nationals by way of the Philippines being an American commonwealth, were federalized to fight with the U.S. Army in 1941 when the Japanese invaded the Philippines and were promised U.S. military benefits and services for life. But in 1946, after the surrender of Japan, the U.S. government rescinded those military benefits to those that chose to return to civilian life. The text is the Rescission Act of 1946 that annulled benefits promised to the Philippine Scouts in 1941.